Hey guys, my name's Corey. I've been freeze drying for a long time now, and I get asked a lot about how loud the freeze dryers are. You can probably hear this one running in the background, but I wanted to show how loud they are in comparison to other things in my home. So we are sitting about 3 feet away from the machine, and you can see that we're in the 60-ish decibel range, and the pulsating that you hear is actually the bump and run, and what that is actually the turbulence that's flowing through the capillary tube as the refrigeration pumps. So that turbulence is what causes much of the noise during the refrigeration cycle. And this refrigeration cycle takes up probably a good, like 30% of the cycle, maybe 20-30% of the cycle. So for the first 10 to 14 hours of the cycle, depending on what you're freeze drying, you're gonna be hearing this noise. So you can see here, we're about a foot away from the machine, pretty much right next to it, and we're sitting in the 70-ish decibel range. It's really not too loud, but it is a constant noise. It's essentially a commercial refrigerator shrunk down into a tiny little box. So it's definitely not something that I want to be sleeping next to, but it's loud enough that if it's behind a closed door, or like in my case, it's my garage, it's really not that bad. I can't hear it from inside. It's not bugging me at night and things like that. So I have the vacuum pump paused at the moment, and it's just refrigeration going. So I'm gonna go ahead and start up the vacuum pump, and we're gonna do the same test. So we're sitting here about 3 feet away, and you can see that we've moved up to about the 70-ish decibel range once the vacuum pump is on. Again, not terrible, but it is constant noise. We've moved in just a little bit closer now, and we're about a foot away from most of the machinery. We're actually kind of right next to the vacuum pump, and you can see that we are right in the 70, mid 70-ish range of decibels. Let's go ahead and compare this to a box fan and see how loud a box fan is. Most people have a box fan in their house or know about how loud a fan is, so I thought that would be a good comparison for how loud the freeze dryer is. So let's turn the box fan up to number 2, just so I don't blow the fan over. So I've got everything else shut off in the garage, so that way there's no extra noise. And again, standing about 3 feet away, we're sitting in the 70-ish decibel range. And let's go ahead and move in a little bit closer and see what it looks like. So we're sitting about a foot away, and you can see that we are sitting in the mid to upper 70-ish decibel range. This is actually a pretty good comparison to how loud the freeze dryer is. It's just a box fan set on about number 2 level. This is the same fan, but on the number 3 setting, so the highest setting. And you can see that it's still about the same level as the freeze dryer. So here's the sound meter put up against the window unit air conditioner, and it's pretty quiet. It's not a very loud air conditioner, but it's still reaching, kind of the low 70s decibel range. And then here's that same test put up against a clothes dryer, and you can see that we're in kind of the higher 70-ish decibel range. So I would say that the freeze dryer is pretty comparable to a dryer machine, running a load of clothes. So as you can see, a freeze dryer is about the same level of noise as a box fan. I personally sleep with a box fan just for some white noise, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to live next to my freeze dryer. I wouldn't want that noise 24/7. The freeze dryer, because it's a vacuum pump running, it is kind of a metallic noise. So although it's the same decibels as a box fan, it's a little bit more annoying than a box fan. Like I said before, I like to have a door between me and my freeze dryer. Just that way, there's a little bit of noise separation there. Hopefully you found this valuable, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us or check us out at bluealpinefreezedryers.com.